What did the bully do at your school that made you think that's too far? Belted some kid with a chunk of wood, 2x4, for talking to his girl. Kid got a depressed skull fracture or some shit. Bully went to jail. I went to a boarding school. Some kid got pinned down by two guys, while another bounced his balls on his face. This kid got at Mr. Ball Bouncy by pissing into a water bottle and pouring it all over his room. Both were kicked out. 5th grade. She mercilessly bullied the shortest, smallest kid in class every day. She called him midget and other things like that. I distinctly remember the day she shoved him to the ground outside of school. That was when I knew I had to stay away from her no matter what. About 5-ish years later, her and her boyfriend were involved in the murder of her mom and sister. They found her trying to run away to Mexico. Completely horrifying and heartbreaking situation. Literally smeared sheet on this one autistic kid who bit the tip of his finger off after. Edit. Autistic kid bit the bully's fingertip. This happened in TGE bathroom as I was washing my hands. Stole the wheelchair of a disabled girl. Now thing was, everyone liked this girl, so there was a cry for blood. They expelled him after threats were made against the administrators. Edit. Mother ducking Rippenbachs. Edit 2. I just saw this in Fox Films It video. To any other it channels out there, remove my name. It can be traced back to me. It was more like my entire 8th grade class. I guess one girl sent a nude to a guy who pretended to be interested, and then he shared it all around TH school. Instead of acting horrified, everyone was like, yo, have you seen redacted S nudes? They even asked right over her. Like, I was walking to class behind her, and two people on either side of her, who were talking to each other about the recent drama. Needless to say, John Mulaney really had a point when he said 13-year-olds are the meanest people on earth. This group of guys went to my middle and high school. They bullied me in 6th grade, and out of everyone I'd met until that point, I knew them to be the most likely to do something actually violent. 3 years ago, in 9th grade, a kid I had never met, but who was also in the same grade and at the same school, was beaten to death in an alleyway with 3 teenagers as suspects. I live in Florida, but in a nicer part that doesn't have as much Florida man type things happening too often anyways. My dad was the one who had initially told me about the murder because I hadn't, and still don't, pay attention to local news much. I thought back to the kids who bullied me way in the beginning of middle school, and I remember specifically listing their names and promising that they were at least a part of it. Sure enough, 2 of the 3 involved were those stupid ass bullies from way back. WH the third was actually an old friend. He was a decent person, but his family wasn't, and overall he was an impressionable person surrounded by the wrong people. Edit. Jail time. Plenty of it. Had a kid with a learning disability. Read out me so fucking retarded substitute teacher was in the room and did nothing. So I stood up to erase it off the board and got in trouble for being out of my seat. Circa 2003 high school. Saw a bully practically tear the nipple off this one kid. It was like an F5 tornado titty twister with fingernails. Not a bullying story, but this reminds me of a kid in junior high who nearly lost his nipple. He was longboarding down a hill, lost his balance, and skidded on his chest. The skin around his nipples ended up peeling, and he had to go to the doctor to get it fixed. While it was healing, he was always pulling his shirt up and making jokes about his almost stripped off nipple. I don't know why, but he seemed damn proud of it. A group of kids liked to piss at this real nice teacher because they said he was creepy, so one day they played a prank where one of them pretended to hang themselves and he had a stroke because of it. I like annoying teachers and all, but even I was like, holy shit. He tried to stab a friend's eyes out and tried to stab a relative of mine with glass. Yet another beat the crap out of a friend with a group of like 20 of his own friends. Totally unrelated group chased a friend of mine with a knife trying to stab him. One bully at my school pushed a kid down the stairs, where there were shards of glass at the bottom, which he landed on. The bully was expelled in anger management, probation, and juvie for a short time. The kid's okay. He has serious scars though. Edit. The reason why there was glass is because it was part of the prank. It wasn't a murder attempt, just some dumbass prank they thought they could get away with. This one may be kind of mild compared to others, but there was a freshman on our wrestling team who was a completely dweeb and got picked on a lot by this group of sophomore wrestlers. Our 113, 120 and 138 wrestlers. Anyways, one day they decided it would be a good idea to pee on him in the showers after practice. That made me so mad. I talked to the coach next day and got to drill live matches, actually wrestling each other, with each of them on rotation for 10 practices straight. Maybe the most satisfying thing I've ever done. Kid they picked on qualified for state his senior year. Kamasa Beach. I wasn't told much of it, but someone I was friendly with was bullied pretty harshly by some people and committed suicide. He never told anyone about how he was bullied, but people slowly caught on to who caused it to happen. Still feel terrible that I didn't know what was going on with the person I was friendly with, and wish I could've done something to save him. Some guy tried to light a girl's hair on fire. He didn't succeed, but she was ready to beat the shit out of him. I held her back. At this point I'm not sure that was the right choice. It's hard to say. I don't know where he is now, but he probably could have used a beating. My friend had finally grown her hair back after chemo. So yeah, that guy was a giant dick, and maybe I should have let her kick his ass. I thought he was good dude before that event, but yup, way too far. Some girl liked to start fights to increase her ego and status. So she picked on this one girl who was raped by her father for a large portion of her young childhood. She started saying I bet you liked it, and practically told the entire school and all this other nasty shit. Eventually the other girl got incredibly depressed and angry and pushed her. They fought and the bully had a posse of equally rude guys cheesing and filming it saying dumb whore stupid ass slut. The bully smashed her nose in and ripped out earrings. Stupid fights happen in middle school. But this was a rel wide ducked up and too far. Also nothing happened to the bully or any of the kids involved. Luckily the victim was emotionally strong. But holy shit, I can't believe people like that exist. Really sucks. Not really the bully of my school, but when I was in HS, a girl posted her boyfriend's pronoun on Twitter and tagged his mom because she was mad that he made it. Rightfully, he did it behind her back. The added salt in the wound was that he did 2 solo vids that got posted on the site's gay version, and she chose the video from the gay site to tag the mom in. Needless to say, his family and anyone who knew him saw his everything after he was publicly exposed and de-anonymized. This guy was also very homophobic in his personal life, so he got kicked out of the pronoun industry after his personal Twitter was posted on the comments for all of his videos, causing a huge uproar. His apology video is still on YouTube, and he still gets shit for it. Tried to beat the shit out of the nicest guy in school. Nice guy was huge. Not fat, but big ahead of the rest of us. But he wouldn't fight back. Just kept getting hit on the way to his next class. He turned around once, and we thought it was on. But then he calmed himself down, turned the other cheek, and walked to class. I was amazed. So much class. 2 of my buddies and myself beat the shit out of the bully the next day. Told him never to duck with big guy again. He never did. I wish I had the ability to turn the other cheek like that back. Had to learn the hard way much later in life. I was severely bullied in grade school. I was basically tormented and tortured for 8 years. When I was about 5 they locked me in the bathroom and turned out the lights that were outside the bathroom and told me this ghost lady was going to come out of the mirror and kill me. Another time when the teacher left the room, this kid grabbed my glasses from my face and started tossing them around to all the other kids. They eventually broke, and I don't know why, but I told my dad I lost them, and he was very angry with me. We were also poor, so needless to say I was blind for a few weeks until we could afford to get new ones. I have a bunch more stories that cross the line, but I will leave you with those for now. Not really an aggressive bully, but one of the popular kids. There was an outcast kid in high school who committed suicide. He had a lot of issues, one of which was he was in the foster system and living in a group home. At school, was ignored, McKed probably bullied. I only had 1 class with him, so didn't know much, by the popular crowd. After he died, my English teacher was making an announcement that she would arrange to take anyone to the funeral who wanted to go. Group of popular kids in front of me start asking each other if they are going to go, because now they care about the kid. One of the guys says I dunno, I might go just to get out of class. To be fair, everyone went silent and kinda gave him looks, and he did seem ashamed at what he said. I think he tried to mumble something about joking or not meaning it. But seriously, it stuck with me. Like, when he was alive, at the least you purposely ignored this kid's existence, at most bullied him. Now he's offed himself, and you want to use his funeral not to make any sort of amends, but to simply get out of class. Ducking piece of sheetush. Wanted to strangle him with his ducking puka shell necklace. There was a toilet in the locker room that quit working. Someone used it anyways, and it sat for a couple weeks. Kid filled someone's water bottle with it. Disgustingest thing ever. Came up behind me at a drinking fountain and tried to set my hair on fire with a big lighter. In about 2nd grade, I went to Catholic school, and around every Thursday, we went to church. We also had to kind of prepare for our first Holy Communion outside of school. At some point near the end of our preparation thing, we did a mock of the FHC, and me being a 2nd grader and an idiot, I thought that was our FHC. Fast forward a few weeks later, and it was Thursday church day, and what do? I do communion, and I eat the bread. Everyone else seemed to know that the mock FHC wasn't the real deal, so when I did it, everyone, including the teachers, was just sort of like, what the hell dude? Why did you do that? I just sort of blew it off as them seeing it as a common mistake. The next day, I had to go to my religion class, where my teacher, the bully, completely freaked out on me. She insulted me, called me dumb, threatened to send me to the principal's office, repeatedly asked me why I took the bread, despite telling her the truth, that it was an accident, started going on about how I was going to hell, and she got the whole class to get in on the fun as well. The whole class period just sort of went about with me being verbally abused by everyone in the class. Keep in mind that I was, like, 7, and I was just sort of speechless and severely embarrassed. That one experience still has me scarred to this day, and I still have social anxiety from it. Mrs. Minor, if you're out there and reading this, go duck yourself.